Hello again. I'm going to do a cooking with Janine video on making my homemade dog food that I make for the dogs. I have about 3 recipes that I do. One I make most of the time is the homemade dog loaf, so it's like a meatloaf. They seem to like it the best. It's actually, they're all pretty easy. I make another meatloaf, little different ingredients, and then I make a real simple thing where you basically make oatmeal in hot water, and then you add extra hot water and get it real watery, and you drop in some raw ground meat. Obviously in our case we use a lot of ground meat, but turkey, chicken, or burger from the store. But the raw meat, it's more of a raw meat recipe, because you don't bake it. My dogs don't like it as well. They don't seem to care for the raw meat, so I do this one, which you actually bake just like a meatloaf. So anyways, the recipe, I'll read the recipe, and then it calls for 1 pound of ground meat. Now I'm going to use turkey in this case. This is 90% lean ground turkey, which is what the original recipe called for, ground turkey. We have a lot of game meat, so sometimes they get venison. About 50-50. I go back and forth. So, and then I forgot the eggs, so hold on. So the recipe calls for 1 egg. I'm going to be tripling this, so everything's going to be in 3s, but recipe is 1 pound of meat, 1 egg, 1/3 cup of Quaker Oats, any kind of oatmeal. I usually use still cut. I actually just bought these the other day because I was out and I didn't get over by Sam's or Sprouts. So I got those at City Market because that's where I was, and they work. You don't have to cook them in this recipe because they'll cook with everything else in the oven. The recipe calls for 1 cup of quinoa. I don't, because then I'd be putting 3 cups in for the triple. I will put 1 cup in, and I'll probably go ahead and just use this up. It's probably going to be a little more than 1 cup. But the difference is I add I get this at Chewy.com. It's dog food in its own right, but it's powder. And my dogs won't eat it either sprinkled on kibble or made with water into a paste. So I put it in this other one, and I'll use the rest of the quantity of what the quinoa would be with that, because that gives them, it's basically 100%, it's whole, gluten-free, holistic. Let's see what's in here. I've read it before. My readers, this is small. It's all natural stuff. It's by Honest Kitchen. I do get this from Chewy.com. I've seen it at Walmart, and I've also seen it at PetSmart, Petco. Okay, dehydrated beef, chickpeas. These are all dehydrated. Chickpeas, sweet potatoes, parsnips, celery, parsley. Then the following minerals: phosphate, potassium, zinc, amino acid, iron, potassium, copper, sodium, vitamins E, B12, thiamine, B1, which that's thiamine, and a D3 supplement. So they get the minerals and stuff with that. And I think that's actually better than having just a lot of quinoa and oats in it. So, so I'll be putting part of that in. And then it just calls for basically 1/3 of this package. I got the big package at Walmart, but one of their small packages of the mixed veggies, or you can do 1 can of a pea and a corn and a green bean if you're doing it by the cans. So when I triple it, it's just easier to get the frozen one. And so that's that, and they also have the carrots in it, which the recipe doesn't call for. So it says to preheat the oven at 375. I'm actually baking some potatoes for our dinner that I want to get done first before I put this in. So So they're in there right now while I do this video, and then I will turn it down to 375 degrees, and it bakes for 45 minutes. Pretty much is always done. When it's the last thing of the night I do, because when I triple it I make enough for a week. So they usually have finished up another container, and I have half of a container for them tonight, but they'll be getting some of this tonight. That's why I'm making it first before I start our own dinner, and it's only 3:30 right now. So the other thing that I also add, because of Brooke, and again it's a powder, and I tried to sprinkle this on her food, she won't eat it. So this Bodyguard is a bunch of different mushrooms. I know turkey tail is the main one. It's supposed to help with lumps and bumps. So it says to mix in any food or sprinkle on top or mix with water, make it into like a little ball and give it to them. Brooke won't eat it any of those ways. So the only way I can get her to eat it is to put it in whatever food I'm making, and that way they all get it. And it's supposed to help. It helps their immune system, but also it's basically a mushroom powder for immune support. It helps joints, brain, immune, and gut support. Easy to mix with, it's just a dry powder. And it is the following mushrooms. Turkey tail, and shiitake, and chaga, lion's mane, blaze, looks like a Japanese, which shiitakes are too, mushroom, and cordyceps. They're all mushrooms. So, anyways, it's supposed to help with the lumps. Mostly it's why she gets it. So, and it's just a powder too. So, I'll put that in there. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is open up 3 pounds of turkey. Okay, so I'm just gonna squeeze this out into the bowl. This is what I like to use because I can chop. It's flat on the bottom, so let me just chop that up a little bit. Now that I've got the meat chopped, I'm gonna put the eggs in. And there'll be 3 of them. There's 3 eggs. So I'm going to mix in the 3 eggs. And again, I'm just sort of going to... Okay, so the egg is all mixed up in the meat. I'm going to add... so the recipe calls for a 1/3 cup, so that makes times 3 to a cup. Okay. Dry dog food stuff. They won't eat dry. And so it's just a powder with all those vitamins and minerals in it. So that's basically takes up 1 of the cups of quinoa. Because 3 cups, it was too dry. And I'd end up, because you don't cook it first. And there'd just be little tiny things all over the place. It's too much. So I came up with this. And it works. So I'm going to dump, there's basically 1 of the quinoa cups, we'll call it that anyways. And then I'll do this and see how much I have. I know there's enough for 1. So there isn't quite enough for 2. Oh, no, it's close enough. And it doesn't have to be exact. I might put a little more of the dry dog food mix in here. They like it. It's a beef flavor. So. But they will not eat it just sprinkled on the food. I do about 4 of those. We put veggies in. So, just mixing up their meatloaf. Alright, that's pretty good. So, there's the next peas, carrots, corn, green beans. Alright, so there's everything mixed up. Okay, so I'm just gonna do this. And then, just gonna, so here's the homemade dog loaf, meatloaf, for 45 minutes at 375. Anyways, I'll come back on later, but for now, we'll say bye for now.